the reality is that nobody's really looking at um, why companies fail in a scientific perspective. Um, it's retrospective. Um, and if you're doing a failure mode cause risk analysis, what you do is you look at what failed, and then you go back and do a deep dive into all of the things that caused that failure. Now, that doesn't happen with normal investment failures. Nobody does a deep dive. What they do is they simply say uh, they're in receivership or it didn't work, but they don't really go back and do a deep dive because it's not really in anybody's interest in terms of it would highlight the fact that the investors didn't do their due diligence. It would highlight the fact that the startup company really didn't do their work, homework in terms of all the risks associated with their business. So in the case of a company like Allbirds, which failed miserably in terms of selling a boutique set of shoes, they had repeated and repeated complaints about people with their toes coming through the soft fibers of their very comfortable slippers. These were slippers. These are slippers that were being sold as shoes suitable for going out into the world. Uh, and, and they had so many customer complaints. I mean, I paid $160 for one, and my toes, in 3 months, my toes were poking out the end. So I didn't buy any more. And so what happened was the sales didn't go through. The hype was amazing in terms of every startup company entrepreneur saw them as if you wear these, you're part of the entrepreneurial disease that's going to take us all to the world. It was all marketing hype, and it didn't transpose into sales. And of course, there were other factors involved, which may have been um, identified by Help at Hand, sorry, by BC Validate, and that is that the other things that contributed was things like COVID and people not going out. They invested far too much in bricks and mortar. The world was changing to a digital marketing platform, and they were slow to adopt. They thought that by having stores, so if you had a store in Newmarket in the middle of COVID, nobody was going there. So COVID affected the business as well. So we try and look at all of those, possible failure mode cause risk analysis and come up with a mitigating strategy. And it can happen in all industries. You need to think about what the regional issues are, transportation, risks of regulatory standards, whatever. But in the end of the day, it's really about making sure that you look at all those parameters rather than an isolated perspective of we've got good marketing traction day one. The thing I love about startups is that you get on average 10% of any market that you go into because you're a new player. Because people love new flesh, new ideas. And they say, well, I'll buy this. Um, there was a company called Little Island Ice Cream, and it was made from plant-based milk products. And the marketing was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it got into supermarkets, but eventually it didn't sell through because it didn't have the olfactory taste of normal milk products. So that's what happens. It's the hype. And so the same thing's true for lab grown meat and all these things. They don't have a scientific base in reality.